it was very easy to ignore black people back then because everybody figured, well, it's just a lot of talk, and they're not going to do anything. They'll just go on and on and on, moaning and groaning about how terrible everything is, and they, of course, at the best, they just might get involved in some acts of nonviolence, but that's about it. And they just kind of, business as usual. You couldn't have business as usual with the Black Panthers. The Black Panthers were definitely going to be heard.
So we always say in the Black Panther Party that they can do anything they want to us. We might not be back. I might be in jail. I might be anywhere. But when I leave, you can remember I said with the last words on my lips that I am a revolutionary. And you're going to have to keep on saying that. You're going to have to say that I am a proletarian. I am the people. I'm not the pig. You got to make a distinction. And the people are going to have to attack the pigs. The people are going to have to stand up against the pigs. That's what the Panthers are doing. That's what the Panthers are doing all over the world.
Fred Hampton, a former NAACP youth organizer, became at age 20 chairman of the Illinois chapter of the Black Panther Party. The Panthers program drew mixed reactions in Chicago's black community.
Many black people initially was very, very afraid of the Black Panther Party.
I understood where they were trying to go politically and felt that they had to change things. And when I talk about fear, I was afraid they weren't going to do it right. And I was always trying to cool them out and say, that's not the right way to go. They were too direct.
You could tell that this was a movement that was very meaningful to them. And none of them was suicidal, so it wasn't like they were out there trying to figure out a way to get killed. But they did honestly and truly believe in power to the people. I mean, that was their slogan.
Here you found some brothers and sisters saying, first, look, the United States Constitution guarantees us the right to bear arms and to protect ourselves. And we understand that we need protection in the black community. And it's our responsibility to protect black women and black children, not the police, because the police is not here to serve and protect us, only to continue to enslave us. It is our responsibility to see to it that our people have a decent place to live, decent food to eat, and quality health care, not the system. So that frightened a lot of people. I mean, they didn't think that it could happen. They didn't think that it was right.
People learn by example. I don't think anybody has an argument with that. I think that when Huey P. Newton said that people learn basically by observation and participation, I think that everybody caught on to that. So what we're saying very simply is that if they learn by observation and participation, that we need to do more acting than we need to do writing. And I think the Black Panther Party is doing that. That we didn't talk about a Breakfast for Children program, we've got one.
Come on in, little brother. Come on in, little sister. Y'all can sit down and get something to eat.
Sisters and brothers.
Y'all kick off y'all's coat. Sit down, man. Everybody gonna eat. Y'all can eat as much as y'all want.
The new Breakfast for Children program soon attracted the attention of the FBI. Claiming the program served to indoctrinate children, the Bureau directed field offices to, quote, formulate specific counterintelligence techniques to disrupt this nefarious activity, unquote. The FBI stepped up its efforts to recruit blacks to infiltrate the Black Panther Party.
My recruitment by the FBI was very efficient, very simple, really. I'd stolen a car and went joyriding over the state limit. And they had a potential case against me, and I was looking for an opportunity to work it off. And a couple of months later, that opportunity came when FBI agent Roy Mitchell asked me to go down to the local office of the Black Panther Party and try to gain membership.
I think everyone that was in the Black Panther Party kind of understood it was a given that we would have wiretaps, that we would be followed, that we would be harassed, we'd be locked up, that we would even be beaten by the police.
In the winter of 1969, law enforcement agencies launched efforts to undermine an attempted coalition between the Black Panther Party and the Blackstone Rangers, a Chicago gang.
The Panthers were pursuing an ideology that said we need to take these young minds, this young energy, and turn it into part of our movement in terms of black liberation and the rest of it. And I saw a very purposeful, intentional effort on the part of the police department to keep that head from hooking up to that body. It was like, do not let this thing become a part of what could ultimately be a political movement, because that's exactly what it was.
FBI agents wrote an anonymous letter to Jeff Fort, the leader of the Blackstone Rangers, warning Fort that the Panthers have, quote, a hit out for you, unquote. The Bureau knew that the information was false, but believed that Fort might take retaliatory action against the Panthers. Meanwhile, city officials announced a crackdown on gangs. The Chicago police expanded their anti-gang campaign to include the Black Panther Party. In late May, Fred Hampton was sent to prison. He had been convicted on a charge of stealing $71 worth of ice cream bars.
We tried to develop negative information to discredit him, just like we did everybody else. We, meaning the FBI, I tried to come up with signs of him doing drugs or something, and never could. He was clean. He was dedicated. I've had private conversations with him. We got along pretty well.
While Fred Hampton was in prison, a police raid on the Panther office turned into a shootout. 5 policemen and 3 Panthers were wounded.
They did it. After they got the brothers down, they went back up there and the fire started.
Nobody was up there except the police when the fire started.
Right. Frank, you want to come get a picture of that dude? Yeah, check that door out, man. Mag-drive shotgun.
They shot up the door at the office there, arrested some Panthers. And just to show you the nature of the raiding officers there, they burned boxes of cereal that we had on the 3rd floor. I mean, they deliberately set fire to that. They didn't set fire to the 2nd floor. They set fire to the 3rd floor with all the, that was kind of indicative of what they were thinking and how they were moving.
The idea on the part of the police was to psych the community out. They called me up the next day. I says, is the office open? Well, no, the police boarded the place up. I say, open it back up. You got the lease to the place. What? I says, open it up. Take all that boarding down, paint that place. And the Black Panther Party members start working for a couple of days. The next thing you know, the community start bringing wood, paint, and everything, and open that Black Panther Party office right back up. And of course, this was an attempt to terrorize us out of existence. At the same time, if we would close down, it would leave the black community saying, well, they stopped them.
In a report made public in the summer of 1969, FBI Director Hoover declared the Black Panther Party the #1 threat to the internal security of the United States.
The police community is sort of a built-in reward and punishment system of its own, and you get a lot of rewards when you go after who the boss says is the bad guy and you get him. And I think what J. Edgar Hoover was able to do was to give police officers the impression that it was okay, it was open season. You didn't have to worry about the law. You didn't have to worry about the difference in the executive branch of government and the judicial branch of government. I think what he in effect said is it's our ball game, guys. We've got the authority, we have the capacity, let's crush him.
Panther leader Fred Hampton was still in prison, but efforts were underway to appeal his conviction.
We were successful, and we got him out of jail towards the end of that summer because a Supreme Court justice in the state of Illinois looked at what kind of a person he was, looked at the kind of case it was, and gave him appeal bond. And that's the first time I saw Fred Hampton, and I was in a young white student in a predominantly black church, full to the rafters, welcoming Fred Hampton back.
Okay, you can put your hands down now. We say all power to all people. We say white power to white people. Brown power to brown people. Yellow power to yellow people. Black power to black people. X power.
We go out, we drive along to some schoolyard or something, and there are like 200, 300 people waiting there for Fred to show up. And the phenomenal part was that, I mean, these are all people from the streets, I mean, who are not going to get up and go to work or anything else, and never had no discipline and never would. But there they were, and it was 6:30 in the morning, freezing Chicago weather. And Fred would have them out there doing push-ups and jumping jacks and getting themselves energized for the day's work, which included making the breakfast, which included selling papers, which included working in the medical clinic, which included a bunch of stuff. It was a very day-to-day kind of a thing, the Black Panther Party. And you'd have Fred out there rallying them, and he'd say, all right, all right, all right, power to the people. Everybody say, power to the people. He'd say, now, I'm not going to die on no airplane. They'd say, no. He said, I'm not going to die slipping on no ice. They say, no. He said, I'm going to die for the people because I'm going to live for the people. They say, right on. He said, I'm going to live for the people because I love the people. They say, right on. He said, I love the people. Why? And they say, because we're high on the people, because we're high on the people. And that was Fred Hampton. When you saw this was 21 years old. It was unbelievable. You could not be moved by Fred Hampton.
In the fall of 1969, Chicago was the scene of a controversial trial. The defendants were leaders of the anti-war demonstrations that had taken place during the Democratic Party convention. National Panther Chairman Bobby Seale insisted on speaking in his own defense. On October 29th, trial judge Julius Hoffman ordered Seale bound and gagged.
This is a symbol to every one of us. Black men in our courts are gagged. Black men in our courts do not feel as though there is any justice. Black men in our courts, whenever case they come, feel that judges do not understand and are without mercy.
2 weeks later, a gun battle on Chicago's South Side further escalated tensions. A former Panther and 2 policemen were killed. The deaths provoked a response from informant William O'Neill's FBI contact.
Mitchell became more specific during that time. He wanted to know the locations of weapons caches. He wanted to know if we had explosives. He needed to know who was staying at what locations, who spent the night where. His information didn't change so much as he requested more detail. And I knew why. The shootout on the South Side had pretty much laid the foundation within the party, within the Black Panthers. We knew that the police would react some type of way.
Expecting police action, the Black Panthers had fortified their office. FBI informant O'Neill was now head of Panther security in Chicago.
We're very confident that nobody's coming in the front door. Nobody. No gas. Nobody getting on the roof, Jim. I want you to know that. Nobody getting on the roof. We believe in, fire, cover, and fire. Yes, we do defend our offices and we do defend our homes. This is a constitutional right. Everybody has it. There's nothing funny about that. The only reason they get mad at the Black Panther Party when they do it is for the simple reason that we're political. And they don't want to admit this. There are a lot of young organizations around, but we are a political organization. We're an organization that understands that politics is nothing but war without bloodshed, and war is nothing but politics with bloodshed.
On November 19th, FBI agent Roy Mitchell drew a floor plan of Hampton's apartment based on information supplied by informant O'Neill. On December 4th, at 4:45 in the morning, 14 policemen, 9 white and 5 black, raided the apartment. Deborah Johnson, 8 months pregnant, was asleep in the back bedroom next to Fred Hampton.